Good afternoon, Taos, and thank you for joining us for our weekly education forum hosted by the Taos News. I'm going to remove my mask now, as we usually do. I am here with Dr. Lillian Torrez of Taos Municipal Schools and Anita Bringas, Strategic Support Manager for UNM Taos, and Anita has a guest with her today. I want to start by thanking Kit Carson Electric Cooperative again for allowing us always generously the use of their boardroom in order to bring you these Facebook Live events. And I believe today the topic is social emotional learning, which I'm interested in. I don't know much about it. And I believe that everyone here today will be able to explain to us what that looks like and how it works among students of all ages. So we're going to start with Dr. Lillian Torrez, and she's going to give an update on the schools, including a decision by the school board last night, and then she'll talk more about social emotional learning for K through 12.
All right, well, thank you, Stacy, for inviting me again to this wonderful town hall. Welcome all parents and community members, and thank you so much for joining us today. One of the most important and current items that happened is last night, the school board made the decision to continue to stay in remote learning up until the end of the 9 weeks. So on September 8th, we will not be opening our 25% of face-to-face teaching. We're going to wait until 10/14. We did send letters to parents, and we will keep everyone updated. So basically, nothing changes from what we're doing. The teachers will continue their remote learning with all their videos, teaching with online, and working really closely with all of their students. The one thing I wanted to again remind every parent is so important because of our student nutrition program to keep nutrition up for students. That means going every day either to any school that you would like between 10 and 12, and you will receive breakfast and lunch drive-by as usual, or we have over 100 bus stops that are the same as they were in the spring. If you would like to get breakfast and lunch for your children. It's really important that, because we are making all the lunches, and we want to make sure that every child is fed every day. We also have, I had mentioned before, the desks for the children that need it. Please call your principal if you're interested in one of those desks, because we did get approval and we're moving forward with that. So the principals of the schools have all the information if you would like a desk for your child to put in his bedroom, her bedroom, or living room, and be able to decorate it, and it will belong to that student. One of the main themes today is social emotional learning, and I really wanted to talk about that because it's really important that social emotional learning be embedded into all of our teachings in the classroom, with the content areas, in all the content areas. And social emotional learning has a lot to do with the climate, how people treat each other, how do teachers treat each other, how do teachers treat students and students treat students. It's really important that social emotional learning teach children about life and how to be resilient, and how to build relationships, and how to engage and be social with others. One of the main themes, the things that we worked on this past week, is we met with the Dallas Independent Schools, and they shared with us for 1 hour all of their comprehensive programs and what they're doing at their schools. It's really, really important for us to, as we build and develop our program and our plan, because remember I had mentioned last week that we're doing a 10-year plan. We were looking at our second graders before graduating, we can think about the 10 years of social emotional learning that they will have in Taos Municipal Schools, and be able to think about their lives and move forward with social emotional learning. Social emotional learning, I wanted to mention, builds the skills, knowledge, and attitudes that students and adults need to be successful in schoolwork and in life. Social emotional learning includes knowing and controlling our emotions, understanding and collaborating with others, making positive decisions, and demonstrating resilience. Sometimes life hands us challenges, as it always will, and it's really important to have the skills to be able to make the best decisions for ourselves. So that's what social emotional learning will do for our children. So next week we'll be working on our vision and mission for social emotional learning, and we're really excited to partner with the Dallas Public Schools, and they're very excited to work with us. One of the things I wanted to mention is we want to put together a comprehensive plan that's systemic, that will be here way beyond 10 years. We have all of our social workers, counselors, deans, our family engagement coordinator, our community schools coordinator, all working together. And one of the newest plans and ideas that came up that we are going to be starting is that we're going to have parent groups, and every day, we're going to put this on the website, every day a parent in the morning can look up the schedule and say, oh, Monday, Enos, the social worker there, is having a Zoom parent group from 9 to 10. So whatever day you want, you can get on and you can participate, and parents will talk to each other about, I had this happen with my child, and someone else will say, well, what worked for me, and it's going to be very supportive to parents. And so any day of the week, you'll be able to join whatever schedule you have, and we'll have every school every day of the week having a program for you to be able to participate in. So that is something that the social workers are putting together this week. And one of the things I mentioned now is the website. In the next few days, we're going to have an incredibly improved website that we have been waiting for a long time. Well, we finally got it here. And with the website, you can click and you will have the whole website in Spanish. And it's going to be great because we're going to have some social emotional learning pieces in there. You click on the box of social emotional learning and you're going to see so many different resources for parents. And the phone numbers to all the counselors and support staff, and the schedules of the support groups that we're going to be having for parents. So there'll be a lot of information. So it's going to take us a little bit of time to get all this information accurately on the website, but once we have it all on there, it will be constantly updated every day, and there'll be a lot of information on there. So the last thing I wanted to say about the comprehensive, it's going to be called Social Emotional SEL Taos. So SEL Taos is going to be the name of our plan. What we want to do is we need to integrate SEL into our climate and culture. So when you do that, it develops positive culture and climate in all the schools, and in the school and out of school time for sports, activities, and the many clubs that we will still have this year. Some of the examples of practice that we'll have is behavior expectations of students and adults, communications alignment, respect, agreements, calming areas, as we all need at times, community meetings. We will have a welcoming environment when you come into our school in the lobbies. And we're going to have systems and routine alignment. So everyone will know what's expected of them and the support that they will get, because we will become together a family, and everybody will, it's really important that everyone know that we do care about every child, every teacher. And so together we are going to work on improving our culture of all of our schools. So that is part of our social emotional learning program. Do we have question answer period after?
Yes, I think so, unless anyone has a question immediately for Dr. Torrez. And you can post your questions on the Taos News Facebook page, or you can text 1-505-470-9843, and I can ask them the question. That goes to my work phone. So now we will have Anita Bringas from Taos, and she'll talk a little bit about the latest with the college and introduce Nina Gonzales, who is with Support Services at Taos. Anita?
Thank you so much, Stacy and Dr. Torrez. It's always nice to see you. Glad to have you back. And sorry that I missed the board meeting last night, but I'm pleased to hear the decision to continue with the remote instruction for the safety of our students and communities. So thank you for all that you are doing. So good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us again. Happy to be here. And I'm very pleased that we have a guest, Nina Gonzales. She's our Program Operations Manager for Student Support Services. And she'll be joining us here in a moment to talk about the many academic and non-academic, that is the social and emotional wraparound supports that we offer for our students. But before we do, I want to take a moment to pause and reflect now that we're getting into just about the 6-month mark of when we started hearing about the pandemic and when we started our community response and what that meant for our community. What's been interesting is that we all have had to learn how to adjust and respond to the changes in our lifestyles as individuals and as a community. And it also has brought up our reliance on many of the resources that we have in our community, such as education, and why Dr. Torrez and I are here every week to share with you how we're adapting and adjusting to continue to educate our community in the best way possible given the circumstances. But other things like healthcare and emergency response and equipment and training for first responders, food programs, that's been a big one that Dr. Torrez has been facing for the K-12 system, and roads and infrastructure and all of those things. And there certainly have been not new challenges and shortcomings that we have found in some of those systems and resources, but the pandemic has certainly exemplified and exacerbated those critical resources. And I just want to share that one of the primary ways that our county is able to get funding for those resources is by knowing how many residents are in our community. And that is done through the every 10 years census. And I know that we've all been hearing about Census 2020 and ads and radios and social media posts, and we can tend to kind of glaze over on it, but I really just want to point out how critical that is and how important it is that we get as full of account as possible we can for the community. They have upped the deadline on how long we have to respond to that. Originally it was late October. Now we have just over a month. September 30th is the deadline to respond. It takes about 10 minutes. I did it online for our residents. And there's no questions around social security numbers or any critical personal information like that. It's names of people in your household and your physical address. As of yesterday, there's over 67% of Taos County households has not been counted. What that equates to is potentially up to $48 million that our county could not receive over the next 10 years. And that number is based on a 6% undercount, and we're looking at a much bigger undercount than that. So again, I just want to encourage you all to fill out your census, my2020census.gov, or you can call 844-330-2020, 844-330-2020. And the other thing that I want to share before I turn it over to Ms. Gonzalez is, the other thing that I know that this has brought up for a lot of people is the emotional and mental strain that this has caused for many individuals, many group dynamics, and many families. This is something that none of us have experienced before and don't really know how to react or respond to it. So, whatever it is that you're experiencing, the anxiety or stress or unknowing or lethargy or even depression, I just want to say that it's normal, it's not unusual, and there are many, many resources available state and locally to support you. So I'm going to share some numbers and encourage you, if you feel like you need someone to talk to please do reach out to one of these professional lines, to a neighbor, to a friend, or to a colleague. Know that you're not alone. Know that we're all experiencing some sort of feeling off and feeling lost and feeling scared. And we're all in this together. So let's take care of ourselves and take care of each other. So the Human Services Department has a COVID crisis counseling line. The number for there is 505-954-1057. Locally, we have several local resources too that Taos works very closely with. One is Taos Behavioral Health, and they can be reached at 758-4297, 758-4297. And Golden Willow Counseling, and they can be reached at 770-9513. Again, that's 770-9513. I'll be happy to post these phone numbers into the Facebook chat in just a moment. When we come in from a place of education and wellness in the community, it encompasses so many things. And so I just wanted to take a moment to address that and speak it out loud and remind you all that it's okay to talk about and it's okay to feel how you're feeling and to encourage you to reach out to get whatever help that you might need. Thank you. And with that, I will turn it over to our Programs Operations Manager for Student Support Services, Nina Gonzales. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me here today. It's an honor to work with these two women in our community. And to build off what both of them have said, to acknowledge the times that we're in and the difficulties on personal levels and family levels and community levels and national levels and world levels, to not to underestimate the amount of strain that people are under and the amount of collaboration. So I'm honored to collaborate strongly with Anita and Dr. Torrez. And I want to cycle back to the social emotional learning that Dr. Torrez brought up to start. So when we think about that kind of collaboration that it takes to get through times like this, I can say that we've been incredibly grateful in the past years under Dr. Torres's direction to have a real strong referral network between K-12 and Taos, and between Taos Education and Career Center, our high school equivalency program, that we're creating that net. And when COVID happened, we, I think, really pulled all the troops together to say, how do we catch our young ones all the way up to our college students and our parents and our adults. And the foundation of that collaboration and network really are those social emotional learning skills that Dr. Torres referred to. And so as part of student support services at Taos, I would say that that social emotional learning is the heart of what we've tried to offer ourselves, so that we can keep going, to offer our staff, our faculty, and then of course our students. So to speak a little bit about the social emotional learning competencies, the first one is self-awareness, and so to just be aware, wow, and to notice what's going on. Wow, I'm feeling really stressed out, and then to be able to self-manage and say, okay, what are my resources? So if it's reaching out to some of these resources that Anita Bringas has shared, to reach out to our faculty, to our supervisors, to our parents, but having that ability to say, I need a team to get through this. It's not realistic that we're just going to self-manage all on our own. So we're really here to be a team and to be a part of that. The next one is social awareness, and saying, wow, okay, our whole world is going through this, and how do we expand that? How do we be sensitive to what other people are going on is with them, and really make the best decisions and build strong relationships. So the next two are really about relationship building and decision making. So if you take these competencies, these social emotional learning competencies, and you say, how do we really apply those to the pandemic? It is through intensive collaboration and networking. So UNM Taos and the Taos Education and Career Center has also been really looking at how are we going to build these SEL skills. So we have written a grant, it's called the EQ Net, because it really is that network, to bring on a coordinator to support the work that's happening under Dr. Torres's direction. And so we'll be part of this, SEL Taos, so that as we're encouraging people to build these resources, it's really about how do we treat one another right now? How do we remain patient? How do we remain kind? How do we remain strong? And so UNM Taos is very much in strong partnership with Dr. Torres on the social emotional learning front, and if we can build those skills, that's the foundation for everything else to happen. So we're excited about that work. Please be looking forward to how that unfolds, and as Dr. Torres mentioned, we'll start to get some of these resources out there in the community. In terms of what specifically is available under Student Support Services at UNM Taos, it all is really encompassed under an initiative that we started last spring called Touchpoint. And what we really realized is that when the pandemic hit, it was important as to the best of our ability to actually have a real phone conversation, to really reach out, pick up the phone and say, how are you? What's going on? What does your world look like? Have you lost your job? Do you have internet? Are your kids at home? So how that's evolved is that we have a network of staff all across UNM Taos from many different departments who have carved out time from their regular workload that they devote each week to responding to student needs and concerns. So students might be in need. We have a phenomenal tutoring and disability service center, CASA. So students might need a little bit of extra tutoring in these times. We've shifted all of our tutoring and disability services to an online format. They might need some extra advising or coaching. So all of our advisors and the whole Touchpoint team has been trained in how do you really have those deeper coaching conversations to assess what's going on. We have our fabulous TRIO program for first generation students that provides them with all the wraparound supports and a lot of additional supports to the academics. And they've been working hard to support our TRIO students. The library has been fabulous in getting technology and internet out to students. We've definitely seen that as the biggest need in terms of what students are reporting. And then students can also reach out if they need maybe immigrant support services, if they have food needs, if they have mental health or physical health needs. So the Touchpoint team connects them with the appropriate resources in the community. So if there's anything that, if you're a student out there or a parent out there and you're part of UNM Taos or you have a family member at UNM Taos, know that we've really brought everybody to the table to make sure that these resources are available, and to once if you realize that, okay, I'm in need or I'm struggling, or it's to acknowledge that times are hard, but to know that we're really here for you, and so you can reach out at any time. And we're going to get you connected to the right resources. And so I just want to thank again Dr. Torres and Anita. I think it's been incredible to watch the community come together in response to this pandemic, and especially to support the entire educational journey. And the last thing I'll say just about the social emotional learning is that our goal is that it shows up everywhere, from kindergarten, pre-K, it's in our schools, we have a criminal justice initiative where we're helping people who are in the criminal justice system, it's in college, it's really a community-wide movement, and it starts with people having that self-awareness to say, you know what, I'm struggling today, and I'm going to pick up the phone and call somebody. And so certainly here at UNM Taos and Student Support Services, we're here to support in that way and be part of that larger network.
Thank you so much, Nina, and I want to commend and thank you and all of your team for the work that you always do, and especially the work that you've been doing over the last several months. Nina, as many of you know her as the former director of the Taos Education and Career Center, and she recently has moved into this new position right at the onset of the pandemic. I believe it was right around the first of the year or so. So it was stepping into a big position to oversee that area. and of course doing it in the midst of the pandemic. But I'll tell you in what I've observed with Ms. Gonzales and her team that they truly do go above and beyond, and it really exemplifies what we uphold to be our greatest purpose at Taos, which is to generally serve our students and to meet their academic needs first and foremost, but what that means for all of those other life things that if you have all of those other supports, ultimately help to be a healthier person and help to be a better student and is conducive to being successful in life and in your education. So thank you, Nina, to you and your team for all that you do and for being with us today to share with the community all that great work. And with that, I'll turn it back to Stacy to facilitate any Q&A and to close us off for the afternoon.
Thank you, Anita, and thank you again, Dr. Torrez. I have not seen any questions pop up on my phone or on Facebook yet, but now's the moment. If you all have, if there's anyone out there who has a specific question for Dr. Torrez or for Anita or for Nina, you can post them on Facebook or you can text them, although my phone is now over there behind our cameraman. You can text them to 505-470-9843. So would invite any of you that have a question. Otherwise, if you think of a question over the next few days, we will be back here next Thursday at 2 p.m. Well, we will be back in some form. We may be trying it via Zoom and Facebook this time. We will not be here at the Kit Carson boardroom, so things will look a little differently, but we will have another education forum. Again, Anita, thank you so much for your time and insights. Nina, thank you for your time. And Dr. Torrez, we all know that you all are very, very busy ladies, and we appreciate you making time.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Stacy.